Loam, a Jeff Hooglin deck that sees a lot of play more so in the Midwest against Ben Friedman playing Blue White Red Delver. He's trying to employ the strategy of a young Pyromancer. I think he have some of those hiding out. We've seen this in Baltimore a little bit. He was trying young Pyromancer out. Not sure if he's sticking with it.
Yeah, no, it looks like he moved away from the young Pyromancer, and he's playing a list similar to Eric Smith's list from the Invitational, where it's basically just Delver, Secret, Stoneforge Mystic, Geistling Traps, we've got Rim Lavamancers. So basically a rug deck, but without the green and playing white instead.
And we've walked into a game state here where we have one player with lands and the other one without. So I think Kory is doing just fine this game. As you see, his graveyard is spread across the table. He's got a couple of lands in play, one of which is a Grove of the Burn Willows. Probably has a Punishing Fire somewhere, but now he's loaming and that sort of stuff. And you know that once the engine gets online.
I would have to imagine this favors Kory.
Yeah? Yeah, maybe so. You see he's going to cast Life Loam for Nantuko Monastery. Looks like a Wasteland, maybe both Wastelands that are in the graveyard right now. We'll bring Nantuko Monastery up on the screen for you guys so you can see the win condition that Ben was going to concede to and does concede to here. The old 4/4 first strike green-white creature.
Yeah, Ben actually doesn't have any basics in his deck, so that Wasteland lock pretty much is game over. And Friedman, you know, we were in game 2, now we're moving on to game 3. They were already sideboarded. You saw Rest in Peace while he was shuffling up there.
Oh, yeah.
3 cards that he has in his sideboard, very good against Kory's deck. So being on the play, that's one of those cards that maybe even you aggressively mulligan to try to get to it. But, you know, with 4 Brainstorm, 4 Ponder, I actually kind of, I really like this deck. Ever since we didn't really see it too much in the open, but when Eric Smith started playing it, it was kind of pretty exciting because you got to see it finally make its big debut, and then literally the next day, Gerard Fabiano ended up winning the Legacy Open with the exact same list. So
those guys killed it that weekend.
Yeah, in one weekend you saw the same deck, you know, pilot it to an Invitational win and then pilot it to a Legacy Open win the same weekend. So I like the deck a lot because you get to play Stoneforge Mystic and Umezawa Jitte and Batterskull, which obviously are great, but you also get to play that Delver Secret, which has been great, and you get cards like Geistling Traps and Grim Lavamancers, which are pretty good against certain decks, you know? So, I really like this deck. I like the fact that it can actually turn the corner and become the aggressor pretty quickly, and but also has enough control cards to sort of mitigate its matchups against like control combo decks. You know, it does play Force of Will, it does play Daze, it does play Spell Pierce, so but it also plays Lightning Bolt and Swords of Plowshare. So it's 7 ways to deal with Deathrite Champion, which is, you know, public enemy number 1 in the 1-drop slot.
Yeah, that's my enemy, that's for sure. All right, we take a look at Ponting's deck here. Again, this is basically a deck that Jeff Hooglin has popularized in the Midwest whenever we are out there doing shows, having events. He's had a lot of success with this deck. I also played it at the Somerset Invitational when he did make the top 8 there. You find your Gaddock Teague, he's got one of those. He's got some Green Sun Genes to be able to search for the Knighted Reliquaries along with Tarmogoyfs. Then he's got his Loam Engine, of course, with Burning Wish as well, so you can search for some fun little sorceries. Also a deck that can play 4 Chalice of the Void, because they can play it turn 1 via Mox Diamond, which is a very potent strategy, especially against Ben's deck. If he's able to play a turn 1 Chalice of the Void, you can shut down a lot of things there.
Yeah, it's similar, you know, again, Ben's deck is similar to Rug Delver in that it runs a very low land count and relies on its cantrips, like its Brainstorms and Ponders, to smooth out its draws. So if Kory is able to go turn 1, even turn 2 Chalice for 1, it can actually shut down a lot of Ben's deck and put a lot of problems in. Ben does have some answers to it. He does have Wear and Tear, and he also, you know, he could just cast Stoneforge Mystic and just win the old-fashioned way with Batterskull. So that's obviously an answer as well, which is one of the reasons I kind of like this deck a little bit more than Rug Delver, in that you're not totally colded to like a turn 1 Chalice.
Take a look at the sideboards here again, because he is playing a Burning Wish engine in Ponting. He doesn't have a ton of cards to sideboard in. You know, he's got all these singletons in Life in the Loam, Devastating Dreams, Maelstrom, Pulse, Massacre, Shattering Spree, Dreadbore, Slaughter Games, Perish, Reverend Silence, which are, you know, going to stay on the board to be able to wish for. The cards that he can board in, Ethersworn Canis and Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, 2 and 3 of those cards respectively. Those are more for your combo matchups, make those better. The combination of Chalice of the Void plus Thalia and Ethersworn Canis and Gaddock Teague against combo makes it a pretty tough one then to be able to win. But against these cantripping decks, he doesn't really have a lot of dedicated hate cards against them. I think he has just a pretty heavy reliance on Chalice of the Void getting there on turn 1.
Yep, so we're going to see Ben Friedman play Delver Secrets. Looks like an alternate art Delver Secrets.
Yeah, I saw this in Baltimore actually when I covered one of his matches. You see a Forgotten Cave there from Ponting. He's got 4 alternate art Delvers that he has. And he's going to upkeep Brainstorm, make sure that this can flip into Insectile Aberration.
So great start for Ben here. He's got turn 1 Delver. Kory just has a Forgotten Cave on turn 1, so you could tell that Ben's probably Kory's probably doesn't have the best hand. And Ben even has a Wasteland to deal with that card. So turn 1 Delver. Delver is likely going to flip here, and then you can Wasteland a Forgotten Cave to keep Kory off of mana here.
He's going to turn over a Daze and get in there for 3 with the Flying Bugger. Going to knock Kory down to 17. Now, Forgotten Cave, a card that is probably near and dear to your heart.
Love cycling. I love it.
So when it gets Wastelanded, you'll probably shed a tear or two.
Well, it looks like Friedman's going to actually play a Scalding card instead. Chose not to actually Wasteland there. I actually kind of like that play because, you know, he has Daze, so he can counter a 2-mana spell. He also, I believe, does he have a Stifle as well? No, it looks like he doesn't have a Stifle. So maybe he just wants to get a turn 3 Geist St. Trap to play.
To really put the pressure on that way.
Yeah.
See a Bajuka Bog here from Friedman. From Ponting. Get that Brainstorm out of here and pass the turn back. Again, Ponting does have a Chalice of the Void in his hand, but we know that Friedman has a Daze, so he's not going to cast it into that.
And at this point, I don't think Chalice is really going to make much of a difference. If we are going to see a turn 3 Geist from Friedman, I don't think that there's many cards in Kory's deck that can actually answer that. He does have Devastating Dreams, and he has Massacre, so he can Burning Wish for Massacre. But then again, we know that Ben does have a Daze, so he's going to need another mana for that as well. And I don't think he has a Swamp, actually. You need a Swamp.
Yeah, you need a Swamp
to cast it for free. So depending on what's in Kory's hand there, you might not be able to cast it for free.
And now Wasteland is going to take out Forgotten Cave. Okay. Get your Cycling out of here, Lebedovich. Going to come across for 3. There's a Stoneforge Mystic. Okay. It's time to go equipment searching. And yeah, Friedman's off to a fantastic start. Going to get the Batter Skull out of his deck. Shuffle and present happily back to Ponting, daring him to catch back up in this game.
Yeah, so he's basically keeping Kory off of Devastating Dreams mana.
Yeah.
Kory just has a black. And actually, the black mana doesn't really do much in his deck at all. Like, he really is basically a Naya deck.
And you can really see how important it is for this deck to actually have Mox Diamond in the early game to accelerate itself, to be able to start doing broken things early, get to the Reliquary a little bit earlier, get Life from the Loam going, or having a Burning Wish for it. Now he's having to play pretty Fair Magic, and Ben doesn't look like he has any interest in playing Fair Magic.
Nope. And does Ben? I'm not sure what the artifact did he end up going for. Was it
the
Batter
Batter
Skull?
It went for the Batter Skull.
Batter Skull. Okay.
There's a Sylvan Library. Ponting presenting this question, asking Ben, is this worth dazing, my friend?
I think, I think it's fine to daze here. There's a chance that your daze might just not be any better right now after this turn. So I think it's worth dazing here. You don't want to give Kory the ability to sort of manipulate his library and try to draw out of this.
Well, Friedman thinking it over long and hard.
Because Friedman can daze this and still play a land next turn to activate his Stoneforge Mystic to get that Batter Skull to play. So let's see what he wants to do here. Maybe he's afraid of Knight of Reliquary. I can't imagine that being a major concern for him there.
So he decides, yes, Sylvan Library is fine. I'd like to save my days for a better spot. Swords of Plowshare to draw for Friedman this turn. He's going to sacrifice that Misty Rainforest right away. We might see that Geist St. Trap that you mentioned.
Yeah, so it looks like maybe he's just going for the Geist plan, and that's why he didn't want to daze there. So he's just going to attack and forward, drops Kory down to 10. So now Geist is actually lethal next turn.
Yep, that 3 from the Insectile Aberration, plus 1 from the Stoneforge Mystic, plus 2 from the Geist, plus 4 from its Angel. I'm good at math.
And I think the reason he's willing to go for this plan is because Kory doesn't have a red source in play. If Kory had a red source in play, and he could actually go second red source, Devastating Dreams, playing around a daze, I think Ben's line is probably a little bit different there.
Yeah, I think we probably see something different, as you mentioned, and there are no filter lands in his deck. You don't see a Firelit Thicket hanging out in Legacy
that
very
would be
often.
Amazing.
Yeah, that would be quite good here, but we don't see that or Rugged Prairie or any of those guys hanging out very often. So we take a look at his deck list as well, and you're not going to find any of those. So
yeah, it looks like there's not really much Kory can do here. He can try to find an answer to the Delver of Secrets that can buy him some time. He does have the Devastating Dreams in his hand.
Yeah.
So if he can actually just deal with one of these creatures and then cast Devastating Dreams the following turn, he's not in the worst shape. But again, Life from Loam is another card that's the core of his deck.
Grove of the Burnwolves is going to come down. Going to give Ponting at least one red source of mana here against Friedman again. Friedman does have that daze that Ponting knows he does need to play around. Was able to get a little bit of information on the top cards of his library. Now here's a Dreadbore. Looks like that's going to try to take out the Insectile Aberration. Going to give Friedman a life, but that's not important right now. And it will succeed.
So Friedman can attack for 7 right here, dropping Kory to 3. Let's see what Ben has in his hand. Looks like Ben has a Swords to Plowshare, another Swords, a Stoneforge Mystic. He still has that Daze. It looks like he has another Delver of Secrets as well.
And don't forget about that Batterskull either, which he's going to leave
yeah.
Stoneforge back for. In for 6 with the Geist and the Angel. Going to put Ponting down to 4. Let's see if Friedman has any other action this turn or not. He's just going to pass the turn back. No reason to commit any more threats. Stoneforge can do that for him.
So let's see if Kory is Kory going to be able to get another red source here.
And if he does, he's got to expend it all. You see, here is the Sylvan Library activation. Wooded
Yep.
Foothills
There's
among
Wooded
those cards.
So let's see how Kory tries to navigate this turn here. This is going to be the critical turn, whether or not he can actually survive. He does have that Chalice of the Void. I guess you could follow up Chalice for 1.
Well, I think with the Devastating Dreams, he's going to have the Devastating Dreams for 4. Like
he can float for 2 mana though, correct?
Well, sure, but Devastating Dreams, he has to discard his hand for all this stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. He has to do it for 4 because of the Batterskull.
Because of the Batterskull, yep. That is the problem here. He's going to go wow. This I did not see coming. Tarmogoyf, the choice.
So is he trying to bait Forcible, perhaps? Not playing around Daze. He knows there's a Daze in his hand from the turn, the Delver flip.
So now he's going to put Maze of Ith.
Ah.
All right.
But he's at 4, though.
Well, the thought process here is that Tarmogoyf can take care of the Batterskull, assuming that it's large enough, and Maze of Ith can take care of the Angel token.
So Kory will end up dropping to 1.
That's what I believe the thought process here is for Ponting, is that you're going to watch Friedman put the Batterskull into play, going to get the 4-form Germ token, but Tarmogoyf is a little too small, and Swords of Plowshare is going to blow this plan up a little bit here. He is going to gain life, of course, from Swords, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. I'm going to go up to 7.
7. Maze of Ith deals with the Angel token. 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. Yeah, I believe that should be enough, right?
Well, Maze of Ith is going to take care of... Yeah, Maze of Ith takes care of the Angel token. Takes care of one of the 4 power guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the other 4, 5, 6, 7 should be exactly enough to get the job done. So you see Friedman, yep, Maze, that is fine. And assuming our life totals are correct, that is it. So Ben Friedman is going to win this match 2-1 over Kory Ponting. Blue-White-Red Delver takes down 4-color Loam. Loam wasn't able to get off to a good start to get the Loam engine going, as we saw when we cut into the game. And Ben Friedman, who does have a lot of Open Series success, is going to be moving on, looking to make another top 8.